You cannot be on just one social media platform. And that's why it's so important that you have a backup plan, because something is going to go sideways at some point. Well, hey there, friends. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm excited to be chatting with you today about why it is so dangerous to put all of your eggs into one basket and why your business needs a backup plan to a backup plan to a backup plan in so many different areas. I'm going to give you some like meat and potatoes, some real tactical things. You're going to want to take some notes. I'm going to give you some systems and softwares, things that you can write down. So be prepared before we even get started. If you are watching me on YouTube today, yes, my hair is straight. Now listen, if you hate it, I'm going to beg of you, just like avoid the temptation to comment below that you like my curly hair better. Okay. Just avoid that. Can we just avoid those sorts of things? Because then what you're implying is that you hate it. And the truth is that's okay if you hate it. You just don't need to tell me you hate it. Like if you wouldn't come up to me on the street of Kansas City and say, Jennifer, I hate your hair, then please don't say it on the YouTube comments. Because I had a lot of people commenting on social media today about my hair. Who knew it's such like a thing? But several people were like, your curly hair is your brand. Your curly hair is what I'm used to. Go back to curls. I'm like, goodness, people, I'm just straight haired for 4 or 5 days here. Sometimes I wonder if I know that my husband got this line from our pastor, Pastor Philip O'Reilly, told him one time that people who are wired like me, we have a high S personality on the DISC profile. We really like stability. We don't like a lot of drama, et cetera, et cetera. So he told my husband that we're outwardly compliant, but we're inwardly defiant. And so sometimes there's a part of me that's like, I know my mom hates my straight hair. I know my daughter doesn't like my straight hair. And I know a lot of people on the internet don't. Let's go ahead and straighten it. I'm kidding, but maybe. Okay, let's talk about backup plans for your business. That's why we're actually here today. And I'm excited to talk to you about this this podcast topic that came about last week. Okay, here's what happened. Last week, there was a woman inside of my inner circle. So she's in my monthly coaching group. And she put a post inside of the inner circle. And she said, hey, is anybody else having an issue with Square? And all of these people started commenting, I'm having an issue. Yes, I'm having an issue. And so there was a lot of people talking about how Square, by and large, was just having an entire meltdown. Okay. Then the next day I get a lymphatic massage literally every Friday that I'm in town from the same woman every time that's in the area I live in. She's phenomenal. And so went to my lymphatic massage and she was telling me that she was going to run my payment. And she said, I hope it goes through because yesterday I couldn't get any of my payments to process. And she was saying that she had to wait until, so that was on a Thursday. She had to wait until a Friday to push some payments through. And I was like, is that the only way you have of taking payments? And she was like, yes. Okay. So then let me give you 2 more examples. Okay. And then I'm going to tell you what I think small business owners need to do. Okay. So another one of my clients recently had her Instagram account taken down. And if you only have one social media you're focusing on, that is problematic when the one place where you sell is not accessible. Okay. And then one more example, and then we'll go. We had a recent launch of my Better Way program. And during that time, Thrivecart had a glitch and for whatever reason was not working on mobile. And 80% of your traffic probably comes from mobile versus from desktop. So that's a problem. If 80% of the time, our payment processor is not working. So team had to scramble and we got a plan B, which we've always had in place anyway. So when I say scramble, it was done in a nanosecond. Okay. So something going sideways in your business that is detrimental to your business making dollars. It's not a matter of if something's going to happen, but it's when it's going to happen. And that's why it's so important that you have a backup plan because something is going to go sideways at some point. And you need to have the backup plan before. Okay. We don't want to be developing the backup plan when we're in the middle of the issue. We want the backup plan before. Okay. This, in my opinion, is good stewardship. And I think stewardship is not a word that is used enough is not a word that is used enough today in Christian talk, language, whatever. And so I don't know what the Webster definition of stewardship is, but here's Jen's definition. Okay. If I was a dictionary, here's what I would say. I think that stewardship is managing well on the side of heaven, whatever God has given you. That, in my opinion, is stewardship. So that's taking good care of your family. That's taking good care of your home. That's taking good care of your money. It's taking good care of your business. That's taking good care of the platform that God has given you, of the business that he has entrusted to you. So I think good stewardship is making sure that not if stuff goes sideways, but when stuff goes sideways, that you have already gotten to place exactly the backup plan and what you're going to do. It's funny because, well, it's not funny at all. But I think I've become like the poster child for who to like DM when you know somebody who got their Etsy account shut down. And I know it's because I've talked about Etsy a lot in the past. I am not anti-Etsy, okay? Hear my heart. I am anti all of your eggs into one basket. And having only Etsy as a way to take money to feed your family is very problematic. They can decide so quickly that you have violated terms of service, that you're not getting enough positive feedback. They can take your account down for a multitude of reasons, some of which you will never know. So it's interesting. I get a lot of DMs from people who are like, Jen, I should have listened to you. Or my friend Michelle, I told her she should also have a website, but she didn't listen. Can you help her? Like, it's so interesting to me how many of those DMs that I get. Put stuff into place now, friends. It is good stewardship. Okay, so here's where you maybe want to take out a pen and a paper and just take a couple of notes, okay? So I'm going to give you the different areas like social media, email, business assets, and then what would be a backup plan that I think would be wise of you to have in place. Okay. All right. So let's start with social media. So here's the thing with social media. You cannot be on just one social media platform. And you can't be giving attention to just one, because if you give only attention to Facebook, Facebook goes down, and you've got 10 followers on Instagram, that helps you not. So yes, it's great to have two social medias, but you need to actually be active on both, actually growing both, actually be engaging on both, and hopefully getting sales from both. Okay. I know that people think, okay, but what's going to possibly go wrong? Well, there have been several times that Instagram in particular has had some issues. I'm sure you guys, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Days when you're like, you keep swiping down, trying to refresh, thinking it's something just on your phone. And it's actually that Instagram itself has had an issue. I always tell people that if you have a Facebook business page, which you should in the year 2023, you should have a Facebook business page. You also need to have somebody as an admin on that Facebook business page in case your personal Facebook profile ever gets taken down. That way you still have a way to access your business page. And I know that like nobody thinks that's going to happen to them until it happens to them. So these are some easy things to put in place. Have more than one social media account. And I know that it's hard to think of a world where like Mark Zuckerberg just wakes up one day and he's like, you know what? I think I've made enough money. I'm done with Facebook. We're going to close it down. But what if? Right? What if something like that were to happen and you've got 1 million followers on one platform and 16 on another? There's going to be an issue. All right. So make sure you have a second social media, and also don't put so much emphasis on social media. Also be growing your email list. Okay. I have a free guide for you if you want it. It's at jenniferallwood.com/email list. And it gives you 5 ways that you can start one if you don't have one, but you've got to be growing your email. So let's talk about what your email backup plan would be. Okay. So what do you mean, Jen? Well, let's say you're unable to send out emails. Let's say, like, for instance, we use Ontraport as our contact record management system. And so let's say Ontraport went sideways, they go belly up, the owner decides, they're done with it, whatever. Of course, none of those things are probably going to happen. But like, what do you do if you lose access to, for some reason, to your email list? Especially if you've been working on growing it, right? We've got 100,000 people on my email list. So 2 things. First, download your email list into a CSV file every couple of months, and then store it in a Google Drive. And if you need to Google how to do that, absolutely do that. I would have to Google how to do it. My team does it for me. But download your email list on occasion so that you have them. Second thing, start building a texting list of phone numbers whenever people are also giving you their email. So like on my opt-in for jenniferallwood.com/email list, if you go there to get my free guide for 5 ways to start your email, we'll ask for your email because we're going to email it right to you. And then we'll ask also for your phone number. And then you will be on our texting thread. So if ever email goes totally sideways, at least perhaps you could still text people. If you're looking for a texting service, we have some fun stuff coming up in the very near future. We have used simple texting in the past. Slick Text is also one that we've used. So you can look into those. All right, let's talk about just business assets in general. Okay, so things like your logo, your branding guide for colors, if you have one, graphics that you use for your YouTube videos or for the front of your podcast, spreadsheets, videos, photos, etc. If those are all kept on your computer and your computer crashes, you could be in trouble. Okay. So Canva can store your brand assets. So that is an option. Another option that I prefer is Google Drive. It stores all of our spreadsheets. It stores the PDFs. It stores photos. It stores files. We use Google Drive as a team to share things back and forth, for me to edit things. My team will send me like our Sunday night email and I could edit it right there. But if you're not using Google Drive, you should be. And then you can search, like you can use like Google Drive or something like Searchy or Vimeo to like store your videos also. So if you've got a lot of training videos, if you have videos where you're, a welcome video into your new program, or a video where you're coaching people, et cetera, store it in Google Drive, store it in Searchy, store it in Vimeo, store it somewhere. Those are all like business assets that if something was to go sideways, it would be a huge bummer and a huge expense for you to replace. Am I right? I'm right. Okay, let's talk about payment processor backup plans. This is the entire reason I started this podcast this week in the first place, because I know that, like I said, the lady that does my massage, her Stripe went down, and so she couldn't process payments. So a couple things I'm going to tell you here, okay? Everybody should have at least 2 ways of taking payments. And I know that you may think, well, that feels confusing and that feels like a lot. Well, you're going to be so grateful if Stripe goes down again, if Square goes down, if Shopify goes down. So look at 2, okay? So like Stripe, PayPal, Square, Shopify, et cetera, 2 ways that you can take payments. That way, if there's a problem with one, you're covered with the other. Okay? Last thing that's real tactical that I want to tell you here is, there's 2 tips I can give you for you to be able to troubleshoot, like what's actually down and what's just me having an issue in my home or with Wi-Fi, or it's maybe only just me. Okay, so there's 2 things. One, get into a Facebook group for the software that you think you might be having like an issue with. So for instance, I told you guys that we use Entreport for our email. I belong to a Facebook group for entrepreneurs who are using Entreport. Does that make sense? So when you get inside of a Facebook group, that's helpful, unless it's Facebook that's gone down. So there's that. Second thing, I'm going to tell you a website that our team uses all the time. It's called Down Detector, DOWN Detector, just all one word, downdetector.com. If you go to downdetector.com, it will show you what platforms, social medias, softwares are struggling and having an issue at that particular time. So if you went last week and looked, there was a ton, you guys, there was a ton all at once of different systems and services that were down all at the same time. Right now, I just picked Facebook. And so this is for Facebook outages in the last 24 hours. There's not a ton. There's, like when you think of all the people that are on Facebook, this is showing a very limited amount of people that have Facebook down for some reason. But when there is an actual issue with a platform, you will see it. It will be obvious. And then you don't have to wonder, like, is it just me? Do I need to panic? Et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Listen, this is not a conspiracy when I say this, okay? I think that in the future, we will begin to see problems where at times maybe the internet goes down or has been taken down for whatever reason. I think that, and it will hopefully be short-lived, but I want you guys to have plans. I mean, we even have the physical addresses of a lot of our clients. So if the internet goes down, I can send something in the mail if we have to. I just don't want people to be caught with their pants down when things do go sideways, because at some point they always do. Okay. So I hope that this was helpful today. Use Down Detector. If you got nothing else from this, use that. If you have not started an email list, go get that freebie at jenniferallwood.com/email list. If you're watching on YouTube, let me know below in the comments, because comments, like, here's what happens. If you watch the podcast on YouTube and you make a comment, it's just like any other algorithm. The more comments on something, the more people may stumble upon it. So comments are really good and makes Easton and I happy. So if you get a chance, go leave a comment on YouTube. And I hope this was helpful, friends. We are so rooting for you, always trying to give you information, mindset, strategy, tactics in order to protect and grow and scale your business. Okay. Love you so much. Talk soon. Bye-bye.